Okay, so today we're going to be taking apart this villainous toa of water that I built. This is going to be the last of this batch of disassembly videos for like another, I don't know, like 8 months or so until I have other mocks, but I'm going to be keeping them around for a while. This one is kind of like the follow up to both the submarine toa and this toa here, who is not going to get a disassembly video because you can basically just see how it's built, like at a quick glance. It's just a pretty simple Mata build. But the submarine toa was a Anika build. This was a Mata build. And so I thought, oh, let's do a Metru build, which is kind of hard to see because there's like so much stuff happening, but this is actually like a heavily modified Metru build. And I needed to do a lot to get it to function this way. I dislike the Metru upper body so much. It's the least versatile of like the big Toa pieces. If you're not using it for like a Toa, like there's not really a lot you can do with it because of the weird slanted shoulders. And those slanted shoulders also mean that if you're making a Toa in the Metru build, it's just going to look like either a Toa Metru or a Toa Haga. Like there's not a lot there. Um, and I tried to do something unique with this build. It looks fine, right? Like at first glance, it looks pretty okay. The neck tan face uh, forms armor over the front of the body, gives her like these really cool spines. Um, Works really well with like the trans light blue and the Paraka feet. She's meant to be like a pirate, so she has like an arm that shoots cannonballs. She has a Um, my head canon, the lore is that it's not an actual Krakan. It is a mask of scavenging in the shape of a Krakan. She has like a fun blade. Lots of, I think the color scheme works pretty well with the blue and trans blue, dark blue and trans blue, and little elements of green and silver here and there. The arm looks sufficiently mechanical. I probably could have done something different to cover up like the Robo Rider engine block here to make it look more interesting, but couldn't come up with anything at the moment, and I was kind of sick of this mock, if we're being real. But if when we break down the chest, we'll see just how much nonsense is happening and how much of it is not great to make even the shoulders even as stable as they are, which is not as stable as I would even still like them to be. Like they're not static; they still wobble, and it annoys me. So we saved the worst for last in these batch of disassembly videos. We'll go ahead and take apart the legs, and then we'll do the arms, and then we'll save the chest for last. So even just taking apart the arms, I need to like hold the chest plates in these weird ways. There you go. Let's start with the leg. The leg uses the arm piece from the Toa Hordica in a kind of fun way. I think I took this from the Titan Takanuva set, who does something similar for his like knee joint. There's some technique in here, um, just for to make everything space everything properly. Um, Borok tooth, and then these little gear pieces, which I've yet to use as like actual gears. I always use them as just as decorative pieces. trans blue pieces. I think these are from Matoro. Again, I got most of mine from a parts lot and Bricklink, mainly for the old uh, Jellyfish Titan that I did, which was also like a pirate themed character. That was before I was doing commentary over the disassemblies, so I didn't really talk about like the character's lore, but they were meant to be like a pirate, they were meant to be like a Toa Kaita, a Toa fused of like three Toa that then went rogue and became like a pirate in this like post-apocalyptic uh, uh, like alternate universe esque setting, like one of the alternate universes that Takanuva went to in the story serials. The idea was like, oh, what if the Borok won and the Toamata failed, and then the Great Spirit just died, and there was like a huge evacuation. Uh, anyway, not relevant to this, but just interesting that both um, pirate characters use trans blue in their color schemes. This is from one of the Lego Star Wars sets. This is super rare to get it in this color. Um, I had to pay a relative lot for this. I got another, like I have two of these. I got one of them in a parts slot, and then I needed another for the Skakti Paraka Titan, and I found out that it's only in this color in like one set, um, which was annoying. So here we have just like a Technic assembly around the upper arm bone to attach the armor to. Pretty happy with how that looks. Yeah, I ended up getting that piece in black from like an Australian seller, and the difference in the exchange rate was enough that it basically counteracted the effects of shipping, because the exchange rate was just so great. I don't know if that would fly now with tariffs and whatnot. Um, this is from Big Rock Guy. I forget his name, from Glitorian. The guy who got defeated by getting hit in his weak spot in the back 3 times like a Super Mario boss. Tuma. Pretty simple design for the hand. Makes it a little more bulky. This is from the Mosquito Galaxy Squad set. Purple. I think it works really well with the blues. If I had these in purple, that would have been ideal, but I think it works well, and it does create like a contrast between like the two arms, because I wanted this arm to be like, give like a mechanical vibe, similar to the arm from the Lariska mock, which also kind of like looks very, very mechanical, like purely mechanical, in contrast with the rest of the build. Highly recommend looking up the Lariska mock that won that contest a while back. It's a great mock. That uses the Hordika body piece in its build, which is a much more versatile body piece, but one that I don't see people use as much as I think they maybe could. Because it's like there's a weird arch to it, um, but there's like way more connection points. You're not hampered by the shoulders, the weird shoulders of the Metro build. Um, I don't know. This thing is so tight. Hold on. There we go. Oh my god, another one. This silver Rakshi head is from Rudaka. I think it's the um, only set that has it in that color. Again, a relatively rare and surprisingly expensive piece. Um, yeah, if you want to replicate this build, which I honestly don't recommend because once we get to the chest cavity, it's going to be like, oh, why? Maybe there's better ways to do the chest cavity, but I'm not. I was like so sick of this mock. Um, I'm so used to making mocks recently that have staffs that have the big long 10 length pins that I can use to like easily disassemble these things. All right, there's the engine block. Yeah, I wonder how expensive this mock would be to replicate because we have the Krakan, we have the Silver Rakshi head, we have this piece here. This piece at least was in, I think, the smaller, one of the stars sets, so that's something. And then all of the trans blue that I think was only in Matoro. Okay, so this is how the head has to connect in order to raise above all of this ridiculous structure that's only the tip of the iceberg that makes up the chest. And how you can clearly see that this is a Metro build. So we're going to detach the head, which is on a 4-length pin with this little Lego brick piece to create space, and also just like create space in a way that still isn't um, creates space on the pin, but also like um, horizontally across the length of the mock. Tried out a couple different eye colors, and then I just settled on blue. I tried trans light blue, but it looked odd. I'm gonna remove the shoulder joints. Okay. We're gonna move. I'm gonna try to do that. All right. So there's this brace, this like weird brace that holds these two sides together. So you can see there's two hand pieces that are held into the Metru upper arm armors. by these structures, and then the pin of the Metru shoulder armor is connected to these Technic angled pieces that then run into the stuff in the chest cavity that's in where the gearbox is. So I'm going to go ahead and take apart the brace. So now with the brace gone, we can pull apart these, and you can see how the 3-length axle needs to run through the top of here and then through here in order to get them at the right length to connect and try and slot the arm in there. And it's still not the most secure. And then here we have this on the outside. The black works well with the rest of the color scheme. And then we have a bushing inside, and then we have the hand piece. And again, these have to connect from here down. Like you can't, any other orientation, it's not going to be at the right height. Okay, so there's the shoulders removed. You can see how loose this is. There are these things, which was an attempt to limit their movement even further. So we're going to go ahead and we're gonna remove, I guess these, sure, these tubes, which connect through the weapon attachment holes in the back of the Metru build. I can take this off. Can we? Oh, this has to be a 1/2 length axle because you'll see in a moment. But oh my god, how do I take this off? I'm gonna remove the pin. So the gear came out of somewhere. Oh, the gear was here? No, the gear was down here. Okay. We can go ahead and remove this gear covering, this pin, and the legs should not slot out because of some reason. All right, so then we get the neck 10 head off of there. Just gonna get rid of this. Okay, so there's a structure inside that comes detached where, just get rid of this. This was also an attempt to hold it in place. Can we just pull out the whole thing? Oh my god. Okay. So this exists and runs through, and there's a rubber coiled piece in the middle that this is meant to connect to and slot inside. And that's how the shoulders work. And which is why it needs to be a half, 1.5 length um, axle, because it can't go all the way through this back hole because there's crud inside. And it all kind of goes through this piece, which is meant to like also hold it in place, like, because otherwise it would just, there'd be no, it would flop up and down. So this it needs a horizontal brace and a vertical brace in order for this whole thing to work. Um, Probably could have done something different. Like I could have run like a longer axle through here, or a longer pin through here, and then connect it through here with some sort of technique, and then it would have stayed. Although that's still this is still an axle hole, so it would have been loose. Either way, I would have needed something that has a pinhole going front to back and also sideways. I don't know. There's ways to do this, but I was so committed to using the neck tan head and attaching it on the back here that it limited how much technic construction I could have done. So that comes out, and we have this tube that was just kind of wedged in there. And we have this Technic piece, which was, again, like that. All right. Glad to not have this thing on my desk anymore. I'm going to guess that it is like 200 pieces, because there's a lot of little tiny nonsense happening. Okay, so we're looking at 174 pieces. These are all of them. Again, probably a better way to do that build, but we'll keep that in mind for the future if I ever try to attempt another Metru build. Thanks for watching.